No, well, my father passed away in 2013, and I think I was probably like when my dad was alive, I probably got along better with him than I did with my mother, but I wouldn't have called myself a daddy's girl, no.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. All right. My next question I wanted to ask in reference to being a daddy's girl, what is your most memorable moment with your dad or the man whom has been the father figure in your life? And I'm just going to open it up to whoever wants to go and share. Just state your name and your response to that, please. Your most memorable moment. Ooh, I guess I got to call him.
Can it be a negative one?
It can be anything that you remember. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I found the pictures of my dad with two other women in my mom's in their bed, my parents' bed. The photocopies, like the little things that you'd shake when you were, and but after that, he then took me out to go and do a day of whatever I wanted, and it was really amazing. But it was, I guess, blackmail.
Hush, hush. It was a hush, hush. Okay, so you never forgot that. Okay. Anyone else wants to share?
So this is Angel. So I have a few dads because I was adopted, but the person that I call dad, who has been a father figure to me, we went and stayed at a haunted hotel, and I remember that because I got haunted and he did not, and I scared the crap out of him after I got haunted and went to go wake him up. He thought that he was getting haunted when it was just me.
A haunted hotel? You know what? You seem to find these hotels that have all types of interesting things going on, like this weekend. So that is interesting. All right. Who else wants to share?
I mean, I can do that still.
Ooh, okay. That person and then the next person. Come on.
So this is Amanda. Probably my most memorable moment with my dad is when I had to physically hold him back as a kid from killing our dog.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Anyone else want to share?
Yes, this is C. I have a lot of memories. The one that just popped in my mind was when I was younger, and I don't do bugs and well, I mean, I'm okay with bugs, but I don't deal with bugs in my house and rodents. And there was a mouse, and I seen a mouse in the house one day, and I refused to sleep in my room by myself, so my dad slept on the floor. So I could sleep in my room.
Wow. And, you know, when I think about memorable moments, I remember I used to always give my dad problems. Like, when he said go left, I would go right just because I was that type of kid. And I think I had took the car one day and was going all types of places, and I was always having issues with his car. And he came home and said, girl, your driving days are over. Give me my keys. He took my driver's license and everything. And my younger sister said, yeah, right. You always tell her that, and she always gets back over on you. And I'm like, well, whose side are you on? But my dad passed away in 2018, so I can definitely relate to what Kay was saying. But, you know, people always have told me that some things you take for granted you'll miss later. And now I think about all these things, the good things and the bad things, and I tell you, it definitely has been an experience. Is there anyone else that wants to share a memorable moment that you may have had with your dad or the man who was a father figure in your life?
Sure, this is Jordan.
Okay.
So my grandparents had multiple houses, one in Canada, one in Texas, one in California. And we would always go up to Canada every summer, and we would get on the boat and go from Canada to Alaska. We'd stay on for about a month, go up and down. And we'd always fly. And my dad bought a new Suburban, and we went and drove all the way from Texas to Canada. And we stopped at every national park, every flower, every trail, every cave. And we zigzagged, and it took us like 2.5, maybe 3 weeks to get up to Canada. I'm sorry, no, it took us 2 weeks to get there. So we spent a week in Canada, and then we drove back. But it was the most amazing time, like a whole month with my dad, you know.
Mhm. Wow, and I've never even been to Canada. I bet that was really nice.
It's
Definitely
beautiful. And then going to Alaska on the boat, it's amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Jordan. That is really, really interesting. Well, we're going to talk about in a second about daddy issues, but if you are daddy's girl, if you know anyone that is, and if you're binging and you want to see a good movie in reference to daddy's girls, or in reference to just how good dads are, there is, of course, the movie with Idris Elba with Daddy's Little Girls. That was a pretty good movie. And then just a movie about dads in general. Does anybody remember Daddy's Daycare? Is it Daddy's Daycare? Is that the movie? Is that the one with who is that? Was that Martin in that movie?
Oh, I thought that was the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Is that the one? Okay. It's been so long, but I was just thinking about some different dad movies. So tonight we're talking about daddy's girls and daddy's issues. After our break, we're going to talk about daddy's issues, who has them, and how to be able to move past them.
Hello, this is Corinne, and I'm here with today's trending news break. A tell-all book by Trump's niece, Mary Trump, was allowed to move forward after a recent court ruling. The president has claimed that the critical memoir cannot be published because of a very powerful NDA. Now, back to you.
All right. So thank you so much for that. So we're going to switch over and talk about daddy's issues. And daddy's issues could be the result of a messed up relationship with one's father, or having an absent father. Results in younger women chasing older men, or even seeking mistreatment in some cases. People consider that as, hey, she may be having daddy issues. So what I want to go is list a few things and just think about it. You don't even have to say, hey, that's me, or I agree, or I don't agree, because it's something probably very personal. But as I was reading these things, I was like, oh, my goodness. All right, so how can you determine if you have, quote-unquote, daddy issues? One, and I'm just going to read a couple of these. Your self-esteem is low, you don't love yourself, and you don't even seem to implement boundaries because you always feel guilty for doing so. Two, you have a really hard time trusting any guy that you're with. You have to screen them. Three, you need validation from men. If you're dating someone, you have this thing when you need to make it known to your boyfriend that you're in demand. Four, breakups aren't just devastating for you. They're catastrophic. They cause a ton of collateral damage, and you find yourself needing to seek validation from your ex, just like you need oxygen. Five, you like eliciting jealousy and any other reaction to display the effect that you have on men. 6, in your relationship, you're jealous and overprotective. 7, you need unreasonable levels of reassurance that everything is going to be all right. 8, it's hard for you to remain single. 9, you're a serial monogamist and always act like you know it all. 10, you prefer to date older men. And no, that doesn't mean you're hitting up the local retirement home, but you do like men who are older. 11, you're more comfortable in seeking validation from an emotionally unavailable man than you are with a good guy who validates you. 13, in one way or another, you're emotionally orphaned as a kid by dad or by a significant male figure in your childhood. Just a couple more. 13, your dad was around but never really present. You never felt good enough or truly connected to him. And last that I want to share, you have abandonment issues due to emotional or physical abandonment from dad. You consistently involve yourself with emotional, unavailable, narcissistic men. And these are just some things through research that says, hey, if you have any of these, you may have signs of daddy issues. Now, I like to get just comments and feedback on if you may know of someone that kind of reminds you, like, hey, I think she may have had this, or if you don't mind sharing, maybe you've experienced some of this. Because tonight we're talking about daddy issues. Anyone would like to share, just state your name and whatever you'd like to share, please.
Okay, I'll go. This is Amanda.
Okay.
I feel like I still have some struggles with, like, my dad and, like, all the trauma that he put me through, but I feel like I've also grown a lot from it. So I've been married twice, and the first marriage was he was just like my dad. And now my marriage now he's more like my stepdad, and my stepdad is this, like, wonderful human being. He's, like, super loving, super caring, so super gentle. I've also, like, offered to testify at the Capitol on animal abuse because I know somebody who carries a lot of the animal abuse bills in Colorado, but I've also warned them that I haven't worked on that trauma yet, so I don't know how it'll come out at the Capitol, but, you know, it'll be fun to see. Yay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And sometimes, you know, having an issue like that, especially with a father, it can carry on for a lifetime. And sometimes the very thing that we, quote unquote, may hate in our father, we may choose in a man and not even really realize it until later. And I've definitely been guilty of that as well. So is there anyone else that'd like to share?
I'd have to say, this is Angel. I'd have to say, yeah, I've definitely got daddy issues. The majority of that stuff that you said in that list are true of me. Mainly going after older guys. I think I just kind of, I don't know if it's because of daddy issues or because I'm trying to find someone that I think may be more mature, but I definitely do that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. Because, yeah, as I went down that list, I'm like, oh, my goodness, what? So, and again, sometimes you just don't know it until it actually hits you. Okay, anyone else want to share? Anyone?
This is Dawn. I think that I have some issues still from it. I think that I seek out, not necessarily in men, but in women, the same characteristics that my dad had with the narcissism and things like that. And so, but with therapy, I was able to break that pattern. So that's a good start. But I think it wastes a lot of your time because you go to what's comfortable, what you knew, whether it's safe or good or not, bad or good. That's what you felt safe because that's what you grew up with, and it tends to be something you seek unconsciously.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Is there anyone else that wants to share? Okay. This topic is extremely important because one thing, when you talk about parenting, the traits of the parents become the tendencies of the children. And some people don't even realize that. You have situations and people that may not have even been raised by their parents, and then when they later find out who their parent is, they say, oh, I'm just like my mom, or I'm just like my dad. And they try to figure out how in the world is that possible. So tonight's topic, when you think about daddies or being a daddy's girl or even having daddy issues, whether you are married or whether you're dating, think about the person that you're dating right now, or think about the last person that you were dating. And how many of those characteristics did you see that were like your dad, whether they were good and whether they were not so good? So as we close out tonight, I want to go around and ask you guys that question. In all the relationships that you had, do you feel like you ever dated your dad, whether it was good or whether it was bad? Or did you purposefully choose someone that was nothing like your dad at all? So we're going to start with last four and then 4488. Were you dating your dad or someone like him, or were you dating someone completely opposite of your dad?
My name's Angel, and I would have to say I have definitely dated my father. Growing up, he did like a lot of yelling. I can't really say that he was a narcissist because I don't remember that much, and I don't really speak to him anymore. This is the father who adopted me. I was adopted, so I've got a father figure, and I haven't really dated people that are like him. And then I've got my biological dad, and I don't really know him. But as far as my adopted dad goes, I would have to say that I've tended to date guys that were older and had narcissistic